Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. So we got some bad news today. Rayshawn Slater, he's gonna be out for the rest of the season. Um, very unwelcome news. Rayshawn Slater was, to me, he was playing as the best left tackle in the league. I posted his numbers from earlier in the season. Posted his numbers just the other day on the community tab, and he was playing the best left tackle in the league to me. Had allowed no sacks. I think two pressures all season long. That dude was balling, and it's gonna be sad to watch the rest of the season go without him. He was a very important part of what the Chargers wanted to do this season. So it's gonna suck that he's not there. It's gonna suck that he's not there. I think he is, like I said, I think he's the best left tackle in the league. But it is what it is, right? This is the NFL. Guys get injured in the NFL. You have to plan for it. You have to have contingency plans, and that's the one thing that the Chargers don't seem to have right now. So it's going to be interesting. The rest of the season is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be interesting to see what the Chargers do. They have to, at this point now, they have to sign a tackle. You cannot come into any game, albeit Houston, any other game. You cannot come into any game with Storm Norton as a starting left tackle, starting right tackle. It just can't happen. It just cannot happen. Storm Norton got, I can't remember how many snaps he got, but he almost gave up a pressure on every single snap that he played. Storm Norton was getting beat really badly yesterday. He cannot be the starting left tackle on Sunday against the Texans. It just cannot happen. Storm Norton he cannot be on the field. He cannot be on the field. And this is going to be interesting to see too how serious the fans, how serious the players know. You can't fool the players. I'm sure guys like Storm Norton, but they know that he can't play. They know he can't play. So it's going to be interesting to see. Is Brandon Staley going to trot out Storm Norton as one of the starting tackles on Sunday against the Texans? If he does, I think this season is probably going to go to hell, right? No matter if the Chargers win or lose, but it's going to show how unserious and how just illogical and not prepared he is. It really will. It really will. It's going to be a very interesting rest of the season, man. This is really gonna be something. Down by what is Slater hurt. He tore his biceps. He had a ruptured bicep when he was and we seen it when he was walking out too. He was holding his. We knew it was either that or a shoulder or a pectoral. Like he was holding his hand, very close to his chest. So it was. I knew it was something like that, and it seemed serious, especially the look on his face too. Seemed like a very serious injury, and it was. Ended up being a very serious injury. And he's going to be out. He's going to be out all season long. I think there's some tweets going out. Some of the insiders, NFL insiders, are trying to give information about whether or not he's going to be out for the rest of the season. That's a rest of the season injury, guys. That's not going to. That's not a 6 week thing. That's a rest of the season injury, especially for a lineman. Your biceps, all of the pushing and pulling that you're doing and all of that stuff. There's no way he's coming back this season. There's not a chance. Even if he was to heal up very fast, I don't think that they would risk that. They wouldn't risk him, coming back, super early, just because he can. I just do not think that. I don't think that at all. That would be nuts. Very nuts. Apex probably thanks for the 5 month. Thanks for the bad news. Man, I just it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. I woke up earlier today, just to see if there was any news that I missed. And, it just seemed like it took forever. And then finally the news hit and bam, there it is. So yeah, it is, it's a ruptured bicep. Yeah. So is that caused by a hit or a strain? I don't know, man. It's your biceps, your pectoral muscles, all of that stuff, your triceps too. Like those can get ruptured very in like freak accident, like freak ways. Like there's a very like high number of injuries. Like, and I used to work at a gym when I was younger. This injury happened to like 4 people that I only worked there for like 8 months or something like that. This same injury happened to 4 people, 2 men and 2 women. So like it just honestly, if you get up and you move something the wrong way, you can rupture your biceps or your triceps, whatever. Like it really is kind of a freak injury. I don't think there's nothing that can really prevent it. I know I see some players wear the like the bicep things, the bicep they're like straps. They wear them on their arms, and I guess that gives you more support. But these type of injuries just happen. Like they are like honestly just bad luck injuries. Like there's nothing you can really do to prevent it. There's obviously steps you can take for injury prevention, but there's nothing that's 100%. It's not like wearing a knee brace or anything like that. Like soft tissue is weird. It's very, very weird. So it's just honestly just bad luck. Honestly, bad luck. Let's see what else we got here. No real backup quarterback or solid backup offensive lineman in the offseason is another example of the incompetence the GM and coaches have. 100%. And you look at the draft. You look at the 2020 this past draft, 2022. The Chargers draft, the third round pick is JT Woods, right? A safety who is not playing. He's not playing. I don't even think he's playing on special teams. He's literally just sitting on the bench. The fourth round pick, Isaiah Spiller, he still hasn't played yet. I think he's healthy, but he wasn't even active yesterday. So your third and fourth round picks are not helping you at all. Those could have been offensive line draft picks. Those could have been depth pieces on the defensive line, at edge or whatever. Those could have been picks that help the Chargers now. But those picks are just they're waste. They're waste of picks. You look at you even go down to the seventh round draft pick as well too. Like the Dean Leonard, like he's another cornerback. He's playing special teams. Like they could have maximized this draft for depth, especially up front. The injuries are going to happen. So that wasn't it. Honestly, this draft did not turn out to be a great draft. In when you look at everything, all things considered, especially the way that the season is going now, this was not a great draft. So it is it's incompetence on their part, and that's really all. That's the only way that you can put it. Things are not going well, and it starts at that point. It starts in the offseason, starts in the draft, starts in free agency, starts in all the moves that you're making go towards what you're supposed to be doing on Sundays, and not enough of those moves are going towards what the Chargers are doing on Sundays now. So it's sad. It sucks. As soon as they said a bicep, I knew it. Yeah. You really, especially big guys too, like your biceps, and then like the way that the injury happens too is like so weird. Like your biceps are like elongated, right? They're supposed to be elongated, right? If you have healthy biceps, they're supposed to be elongated, especially when you push your hands out. Your biceps are like long, right? They're long, the muscle is long. But when that bicep tears, it kind of like goes up like it starts retracting like like a wheel or something, or a like a tape measure, right? You see it like you have a tape measure out, you press the button, it goes back in, and that's when your bicep just starts retracting all the way up your arm. So they have to surgically repair it and put it back. It will be a long process for him. He's a big guy, he's has a lot of mass. So it's going to be a long recovery process for him. I do not expect him back this season. Let's see, the GM may hit a few draft picks, but managing this team throughout the past years have been consecutively atrocious. Yes, I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Third and fourth round guys are who you win with. Exactly. And if you don't have enough of those guys who are playing and making, just making any type of impact, they're all sitting on the bench. They're all not playing. It's mismanagement to the highest degrees. Atrocious. Yeah. I seen that. No, they kept Storm Norton. Jesus Christ. I know. And this is what I'm saying, man. This is what I'm saying. If you're a Charger fan, I don't care if you watch the other channels who like, the sunshine and the rainbows and the lollipops and the puppies and all of that stuff, and they want to, tell you that everything is okay. If Storm Norton is on the field against the Houston Texans, this is not a serious franchise. The Chargers are not a serious franchise. Brandon Staley is not a serious coach. He should be out at that point. He shouldn't even coach the goddamn game if Storm Norton is in in the game in any aspect. If he's starting in any aspect, he should be fired on the spot right there, and made to buy a ticket back to fly back to LA, himself. Not even fly back with the team. That's what should happen. That is what should happen. He's not a serious coach. He is not a serious coach. The Chargers have to bring somebody in. They have to bring in another tackle. They got to bring in a free agent tackle from somewhere. They have to orchestrate a trade with somebody. Maybe if there's a tackle who wants out or whatever, they have to do something. They cannot go into the game with Trey Pipkins at right tackle, right? Who is a guy who's already got some question marks. He played okay. He's played okay this season, but he's already got question marks. You can't go into a game with him at right tackle and Storm Norton at left tackle. If they do, this is a unserious franchise. This is a unserious franchise. And I might turn the game off if that happens. I might turn the game off just because I'm not going to support that. We've seen what Storm Norton did when he went into the game. He got blasted every single time, and he got pressured, and he let up a bunch of hits on Herbert. I think he had Herbert hit like 4 or 5 times just within the short span of time that he was in the game. Like it's not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty at all. Everybody around the league know that Storm Norton sucks too. I don't know if you guys seen the pictures and the videos and stuff. It was last year. The Chiefs were practicing. They had Storm Norton. They had his face taped to a trash can. That's the kind of respect that Storm Norton has around this league. Again, might be a great guy. He can't play though. He cannot play. He is not a good offensive tackle. I don't know why he's in the league at this point. I really, really don't know. But if Storm Norton is in this game, the Chargers are not a serious franchise. They absolutely are not a serious franchise. Brandon Staley, again, that will be another fireable offense. I thought yesterday was a fireable offense for leaving Herbert in the game in a blowout. Storm Norton's in the game, another fireable offense, because it will show that this guy does not know what he's doing. And there's not going to be anything. There's no excuses to bring up. There's no justifications, nothing. This guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing. That would be the only reasonable excuse for this. If Storm Norton is in the game, that would be the only excuse. I was so surprised he did. Let's see. I feel bad for Slater. He works hard. He does work hard. He works hard. He's quiet. He keeps his head down. He does what's asked of him. It sucks. It sucks. And it sucks. It honestly sucks for Herbert as well, too, because Herbert is going to feel this more than anybody else. The run game already wasn't good. So, that's what it is. But Herbert is going to feel it. Slater is I feel he's the best left tackle in the league. But we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it throughout the season. Definitely be prepared to feel it. Clear out for the season. Yep. Tom Telesco needs to go as well. Yeah, they do, because Tom Telesco is I don't know if he has the smartest guy in the room mentality like Coach does, like Staley does. But there are too many draft picks that Tom Telesco is willing to go to bat for. He's still willing to go to bat for Jerry Tillery. Like, why is Jerry Tillery on this team? Jerry Tillery has not made a play all season. He has not made a play all season, and he plays so many snaps. Why is he in the game? He's in the game because he is a Tom Telesco draft pick. And this is the thing about the NFL. And this is the thing, I guess, in sports in general, right? Especially when you look at us as men, right? Most men are, we are full of testosterone. We're full of ego and all of that stuff. A lot of us cannot admit when we're wrong. And Tom Telesco is a guy, he cannot admit when he is wrong. When he whiffs on a draft pick, instead of just cutting bait with him, he will have them on the roster and just let them play out. Like, you have to admit that you got some stuff wrong, especially in all the drafts. Telesco's been the GM for about 10 years now, right? He took over from AJ Smith, I think, when he retired in 2012, 13-ish, whatever it was. 10 years. He's been the GM for 10 years. You've had 10 drafts. Every draft pick is not going to hit, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just whiff on a player, and there's no big deal. But the thing that makes it worse and exacerbates the problem of bad drafting is not being able to move on from bad picks. Move on from them. They can't play. They're not good. Just move on. There's nothing wrong with this. Sometimes it happens. Move on, right? The best thing you can do, especially if you know you drafted a guy who can't play, best thing you can do after a year or two, trade him. try to trade him for another draft pick. Try to get out of it. That's the best way to go about it. It's not to double down on sorry players. It's just not the way to do it. We all know that Jerry Tillery can't play. We knew it. I made videos about this last season, or no, in the offseason. We know this. We knew he couldn't play. We knew it. We knew he couldn't play. Now what is he doing? Nothing. He's taking up space. You had a guy in Braden Fajoko who really, he came in as an undrafted free agent. He wasn't even looked at to make this team, last season. But he worked his ass off and he got better. He got better. He was the best run stopper that the Chargers had, right, by statistics last season. That's the best that we had at stopping the run last season. He came into this season. He worked on his body a little bit, and he looked very, very good during the preseason. He had a wonderful camp as well, too. He makes the team. He's not playing. What is going there is favorites being played. And Tom Telesco is a guy, he cannot admit when he is wrong. And he needs to admit when it's wrong. He needs to admit when it's over. And he just can't do that. For whatever reason, he can't do that. It's too much ego. It's too much, I don't know. Maybe he likes the smell of his own farts. I don't know. But there's too much ego involved in this. And you can't do that. You just can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to be ready and willing to let a guy go who is not good. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Belichick does it all the time. Belichick does this all the time. He'll whiff on a guy. He'll get a draft pick. He'll sign the guy in free agency. He'll realize that it doesn't work, and he'll trade the dude. He will trade the dude, and or at least try to trade the guy, or before releasing him. There's nothing wrong with it. Just every player is not going to live up to their potential. Every player is not going to be a great player. Some guys are going to look really good in college. Some guys are going to look really good, maybe even in practice and stuff. But if they can't cut it in games, you got to let them go. You have to. And that's what Tom Telesco will not do. And you mix that with Brandon Staley, smartest guy in the room, attitude. And this is what we have now. This is honestly what we have now. Tevy is a better player than Storm Norton. He is. And Tevy sucked too. Tevy was not a good tackle, but he is better than Storm Norton. Sam Tevy, I 100% agree with that. 100%. No wonder Eli Manning and his family didn't want to join the Chargers. For real. For real. Incompetence at the highest levels. It really is. It really, really is. Really is. Do you see us winning against the Texans or Browns coming up next? I don't know. It just depends on how the locker room feels. It really does. I'm going to drop the video later. Just to give you a little heads up of what in the video. Since I started this channel, guys, I have been reaching out to a lot of people on social media. I've gotten some responses from a lot of people, like just former players, media members and all that stuff. I've gotten a lot of responses from a lot of people. I've gotten, ghosted by a lot of the other ones, but I've gotten a lot of responses from people, and I'm just trying to slowly develop, relationships with them, right? From the standpoint of somebody who covers the Chargers, right? And I take this seriously, what I do here on YouTube. So I have no issue saying, I have a channel that's, dedicated to the Chargers, whatever. I have no issue when I'm talking to people. So I have, kind of worked, a few relationships that I have now. I've worked on them now, and I got information. I got some information, especially about the locker room, and guys, being really mad, being upset at Brandon Staley, being upset. I don't know if it's so much directed at Tom Telesco, but guys are not buying in the locker room. They are upset at Brandon Staley. They don't really believe in him, and they are looking at him like a used car salesman, a guy who's got a lot to say but has no substance to him. And that is, if you're a team with a lot of veterans and you have a young coach and you have your veterans looking at the young coach like he is kind of just a pompous jackass, that's not a good place to be. That really is not a good place to be. And this is why I have done so many videos on Lombardi. This is why I've done so many videos. I'm starting to develop relationships. I'm not, the guy breaking news and all of that stuff, but there are things that I see right on the field. There's things that you can see in press conferences. There are things that you can kind of infer by the way that guys are talking. And so that's why I, reach out to people and I want to confirm things, right? I want to get things confirmed, especially before I make these videos. I don't want to come on here just guessing, right? And, I do give my opinions on a lot of things, but my opinions that I give, especially lately, are being driven by a lot of things that are really, really happening, right? So I'm not just pulling things out of my ass. I'm not just coming on here talking out of my ass. A lot of these things are really happening. The Joe Lombardi thing, I seen that happening a long time ago. I got a lot of comments. The video that I made about Lombardi 4 months ago is starting to blow up again, because I called it. I called everything that you guys are complaining about Lombardi with. I called it months ago. While all these other YouTubers and all these other Charger podcasts were filleting Joe Lombardi and were hanging on to his nuts, I was calling him out because I seen that he didn't know what he was doing. And I was talking to some people and they agreed with me. And that's why I went on and I proceeded with these videos, especially about Joe Lombardi. But that's where I'm at with this now. So the Charger players are not they're things are not kumbaya in the locker room by any stretch. They don't like the way Brandon Staley plays favorites. It's a nepotism thing, and I called this out a long time ago. I called this out last year. It's a nepotism thing with Brandon Staley. It's not about who can get the job done. It's about who he knows. He's hooking his boys up, and that ain't cool. That's not cool in NFL locker rooms with unproven guys. That ain't gonna gel. And I called this out as well too. It's just not gonna gel, and that's what's going on. That's the reality of the situation right now. So I'm gonna drop that video a little later today, so you guys can see that there. But I have been talking to some people. I've been trying to massage some relationships. And again, I'm not an insider. I'm not gonna be the guy on Twitter breaking news. I don't want to do any of that. I have no interest in that. But what I do have interest in is putting out educated opinions on certain subjects, especially when it comes to the Chargers. That's what I'm interested in, and that's what I pride myself on. I'm not just pulling things up. I'm not just saying the Chargers need to do this without any substance, without any not necessarily proof, but without anything really backing it up. I'm not pulling things out of my ass. Like the video about the roster move that I made last week. That comes from people. The people in the organization were like, "What is going on?" when they cut Breeden Fehoko and they brought up Christian Covington. Guys were looking around like, what's going on here? Why is this happening? And Christian Covington has yet to play. And I think guys knew that he wasn't going to play. He wasn't going to get in. He wasn't going to play. Guys knew this, so they were kind of looking around like, this roster move doesn't make any sense. And that's why I made that video, because it didn't make any sense. And just what I'm saying is being proven out now, and the locker room is they're on edge now. They're on edge. Like I don't have firsthand knowledge. I can't speak to everybody's mindset or whatever, or really how upset they are, or what every single person is mad about. I don't have that knowledge, and I'm not gonna act like I do. But the locker room is not kumbaya right now. Guys are really upset, and Brandon Staley is the guy that a lot of most of the guys are upset with, and they're looking at him again like a used car salesman. We see on the Chargers, if you watch the Charger social media, right, All In and all of that stuff, you will see that Brandon Staley is the king of the motivational speeches and all of that stuff. When you have veterans on your team, that shit starts to go in one ear out the other. They can only stand a few weeks of that, right? Brandon Staley, and you think about this too. Put this into perspective. Brandon Staley, this is his 6th year in the NFL, right? This is his 2nd year as a head coach, but only his 6th year in the NFL. You have guys on this roster that have been in the NFL longer than Brandon Staley has. They've been playing in the NFL longer than he's been a coach, an assistant, whatever. You're not going to come in and you're not going to talk to these guys in a certain manner, and you're not going to dictate to them in a disrespectful manner. Right? Or you're not going to be disingenuous and have these guys think that you are the best coach or whatever. You're not going to do that to those guys. And if you try to do that to those guys, they are going to meet you with some fervor. They're going to be pissed off. And I think that's what a lot of what's going on now. He's talking to guys like they are rookies and like they've never been in situations. And a lot of these guys have. They've been in the league for a long time. You look at Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's been around for 10 years, right? What is Brandon Staley going to teach Keenan Allen about the NFL that he don't already know? You know what I'm saying? So you can't come in. What is Brandon Staley going to teach Kyle Van Noy and J.C. Jackson and Sony Michel and Super Bowl champions, right? Multiple Super Bowl champions. What is he going to teach them about the NFL that they don't already know? Nothing. So when you come at them in a disingenuous manner, they're going to look at you side-eye. They're definitely going to look at you side, especially when you have nothing of Nothing on your resume. You have nothing. You have pie in the sky ideas. There's nothing solid on your resume. Nothing solid on Brandon Staley's resume at all. 1 year as a Rams defensive coordinator with a loaded defense, that doesn't do anything. That's not going to move the needle in rooms. So I think Brandon Staley has to be careful how he navigates this going forward. He has to change his approach a little bit, because whatever's going on, whatever he's doing now is not working. It's just not working. And he does have to change his approach, and he has to change how he talks to some of these guys, because they don't like it. They really don't like it. Something in the milk isn't clean. Yeah, exactly. And we can all see it now. We can all see it. Things are being exposed. Damn, Slater's out. Yeah, Fehoko deal was shady. Yes, I'm surprised Fehoko was a good sport about. Yeah, and Fehoko didn't get picked up on waivers either. So they kind of avoided a disaster situation, because if Fehoko got picked up on waivers by somebody, you have nobody to replace him. Christian Covington obviously was not, I mean, like I said, he's a journeyman guy. We know what he is, and he was a part of one of the worst run defenses in the league last year. He got a lot of snaps. He didn't make a lot of plays in run defense. That's what the Chargers needed to improve, right? So it doesn't make sense to bring up a guy who didn't make plays in the run defense over a guy who is, statistically was the best last year. It doesn't make sense. Didn't make sense. Again, guys are looking at that side eye as well too. So Norton ain't got to throw. Norton ain't got to throw in the rookie Sawyer. Sawyer is. I don't think he's ready to go. I don't think that he's ready to go. Because he's not even the extra offensive lineman that they bring in. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really heard much about him, but we'll see. Who's out there at left tackle that can play? Anyone? I've heard Eric Fisher's name be brought up a lot, but we'll see. You're not the only one who had their doubts about Lombardi. Stop acting like you're the only one who drops good content. That's BS. And you're not always right, even though I agree with you most of the time. I'm not acting like I'm the only one that's bringing good content. I'm saying my content is based on things that are going on. I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass. And I'm not saying that I'm the only one that had doubts about Lombardi. But you can go back and look at the video that I dropped 4 months ago. There was a lot of comments in there with Lombardi. They were pro Lombardi. Go back and look at the comments right now. Go back and look. There was a lot of people who were pro Lombardi. And I was saying this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing and what has happened. And I'm not saying that I'm the only one calling it out. There was a bunch of Charger fans calling it out. A bunch of Charger fans. But a lot of the content creators that people watch weren't calling Lombardi out, and they're still not. They're still not calling Lombardi out. They love everything that Brandon Staley does. They're fanboys. I'm not saying that I'm the only one dropping good content about this. I'm not saying that. I never said I was the only one dropping content about this. I'm the only one who's willing to come out, though, and say, hey, this looks like bullshit, because I'm not trying to get interviews with the players. I'm not trying to get interviews with the players. I'm not trying to be friends with people in the organization like some of these other people are. That's what's going on, and that's why they won't criticize it. I tell the truth on here. That's all I'm saying that I do. I come on here and I tell the truth, and I don't care who likes it. I don't care who agrees with it. I don't care if you don't agree with it. I don't care. I'm going to come on here and I'm going to tell the truth. And as I've taken this more seriously, like I said, I've tried to build more relationships, so that way my videos and my content is more targeted towards what is going on in reality. I'm not posting shit on here saying, come on, guys, let's all just be positive. That's not me. I don't do that. Let's all just be positive. Even though we got our asses whooped and Justin Herbert, he was in there getting hit with his bad rib and all that stuff. I'm not saying that's not me. That's never been me, and that's never going to be me. I'm saying my content is geared towards reality and what is going on. And people have their allegiances. People love Brandon Staley. They love Brandon Staley, and that's fine. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that Brandon Staley is a good coach. This is a loaded team, and he's 10-10. You're not going to tell me that Sean Payton would not have got more out of this team. You're not going to tell me that another coach wouldn't have got more out of this team. You're not going to sit here and bullshit me about Brandon Staley, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They sit here and they bullshit people. You're not going to bullshit me about Brandon Staley. I don't give a shit what he says. Like I said, his motivational speeches that's used car salesman stuff to me. And it's not fooling the players. And this is what I'm talking about here. It ain't fooling the players. You all can be fooled by it. If you want to be a fan, you want to be fooled by it, you can. It's not fooling the players. And the product on the field represents that. The product on the field represents players not buying into this bullshit. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I've come on here and I've said. And even in my other videos, I will, if I'm wrong about something, I'll come on here and say, hey, I was wrong about it. I have no issues with that. I don't feel like I'm anybody. I don't feel like I'm some elevated. I'm just a regular guy. I just get on here and make videos. I bought some equipment and that's what I do. I'm just a regular guy. But don't tell me that I'm coming on here saying that all of my opinion, that I'm right about everything. I never said that. I never said that. I just want to reach out to people to make sure that my opinions are not off the wall shit. That's just what I do. That's what I do. So, hey, Jaffa, if you want to start a channel and you want to bring some stuff out, you do it. But don't sit here and tell me that I'm a guy that I think I'm right and all of this stuff. No. And yes, yeah, you might agree with me all the time, but guess what? I don't give a shit if you agree with me or not. You can disagree all you want to. I don't care. I'm not sensitive, and I don't have all of this stuff going on where, you know, I don't want people to talk bad about me and all of this stuff. And guys, come on, let's not be negative. That's not me. I don't care. I'm from the gutter. I can do it. People talk shit to me all the time. Don't matter. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I let people talk shit on my comments all the time. I don't block them. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me. So you can say whatever you want to. If you agree with me, great. If you don't agree with me, I don't give a shit. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you can start your own channel, bro. That's it. You can start your own channel, do things how you want to do it. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that I act like I'm the only one dropping good content. No, I'm the only one telling you the truth. I'm the only one who's willing to be real with you. Because I'm not trying to suck nobody's dick like everybody else is. I don't care about player interviews. I don't care about having friends in the organization. I don't care. I just don't care. It doesn't register to me. So if you like the content, cool. If you don't like the content, you can go somewhere else. You want to see sunshine, rainbows, and puppies? There's other content creators who make that. And they talk Chargers too. So you can go ahead and go over there with them. The Sony over JK post had me thinking. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. It's a real thing. Sony Michel got signed, 4 days before week 1, right? He got signed 4 days before week 1. He was cut by Miami. I don't know if you guys have watched Miami. They're okay. Their run game is not good, right? Their run game is not good. They had Chase Edmonds and I can't remember the other guy. Their run game isn't great, though. So Sony Michel being cut by Miami lets you know something, right? Okay, he is clearly on the downside of his career. The Chargers signed him, and they automatically put him in front of Josh Kelly. Even after Josh Kelly, they had this makeshift. It was a bullshit. Now, at this point, it was a bullshit running back competition, right? To see who's going to be number 2, right? It's between him and Isaiah Spiller, right? The guy that they just drafted. Who's going to be number 2 behind Eckler? Who's going to be number 2 behind Eckler? Josh Kelly, we heard all camp long he was good. He came in shape, right? He came in shape. He's more muscular. He lost weight. He changed his running style, right? He's much more balanced. His vision is there, right? He didn't have vision the past couple of seasons, but his vision is there. He's running hard. He's running tough. He's holding on to the ball. He did everything that the coaching staff asked him to do in the offseason. He did everything. He came in, he performed in the preseason, he performed in camp, and he was awarded the number 2 position. Until Sony Michel got here, really, literally just off the street, 4 days, and he's the number 2 back. That doesn't jive well with NFL players. You work your ass off. You earned it. And Josh Kelly wasn't promised anything. He wasn't promised it. He earned it. And if you guys know me, I'm not the biggest Josh Kelly fan. I wasn't the biggest Josh Kelly fan. Like he was not good. Like his first couple of years in the league, he just wasn't good. He wasn't good. Yards per carry wasn't there. And if you watch the eye test, he just didn't have it, right? He wasn't a great player. He wasn't a great running back. But he did the work. And you have to credit him. He did the work. He didn't complain. He didn't say, oh, this isn't fair, whatever, this and that. He took it like a man. He took all the criticism like a man, went in the offseason and got himself better. That's what you want people to do. He got himself better, and he earned that position. And then he lost the position just because Sony Michel got here. And Sony Michel is not a better running back than Josh Kelly at this point right now. Sony Michel is on the down. He's on the downside of his career. And, he's been with several teams now. They know what he is. They know what Sony Michel is. Josh Kelly is just not getting his opportunity, though. He's not getting his opportunity that he earned. It wasn't promised to him. He had this opportunity, and he earned it. and he's not getting it. And that's why a lot of players are mad about this. And I will be too, because that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You can just lose your job just because you got somebody coming in who is not better than you, by the way. Sony Michel is not better than Josh Kelly, by the way. So yes, it does look very, very bad. And that's something that the locker room doesn't like, obviously. Your opinion is excellent. What is opinion? What do you mean? I don't understand. Bro, if you don't like my channel, you can go somewhere else. You're not going to sit here and dictate to me. This is not the Sunshine and Rainbows and Lollipop Charger podcast. This ain't it. This ain't it. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can go somewhere else. I'm not telling you to subscribe or whatever. You can go somewhere else if you don't like what I'm doing. If you don't like what I'm doing, or if you disagree with whatever. Like I said, if you agree, great. If you disagree, then whatever. I don't care. If you're a Staley fanboy, you can go do that fanboy shit over there. It's not going to happen. And I told everybody yesterday, the Staley fanboys are going to be working overdrive to try to make it seem like your lying eyes didn't see what they seen yesterday. You seen a poorly coached team yesterday, a very, very poorly coached team yesterday. And you seen a coach who is now a used car salesman in the locker room. A guy with a loaded roster both years, 10-10, a defensive guru who can't stop a nosebleed. That's what you're seeing yesterday. So do not let the Staley fanboys come out here and tell you that you've seen something else, because you didn't. You didn't. What you seen was a poorly coached team. Brandon Staley is in over his head. He's in over his head. That's all it is. That's all it is. The Chargers' identity is Justin Herbert heroics. That's what the Chargers' identity is. If anybody else has anything to say about that, or you have any of his, tell me what the identity of the Chargers is. Tell me what the identity of the Chargers was last year. You tell me in those 10 wins. It's Justin Herbert heroics and nothing else. There is no run game. There was no consistent run game last year, even though it wasn't as putrid as it was this year. This run game is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Defensively, they weren't good last year. Now the defense has improved. There's a lot of talent on defense, but they're still not being coached right. This is still not a great defensive team. They're better, but they're still not great. Still gave up a shit ton of run yards yesterday. Couldn't stop the pass yesterday as well either. Couldn't get any pressure either. And that's with Bosa on the field and with Khalil Mack, even before Bosa got hurt. They still couldn't get any pressure. You tell me what Brandon Staley has done that doesn't involve Justin Herbert's heroics as a coach. You give me the list, because we have 20 games now and we've seen what he's done. And it's all based on Justin Herbert's heroics. That's what happens. That's what makes this team go. Justin Herbert's heroics. That is it. That's it. That's all Brandon Staley has done. So he hasn't done anything. He has to prove himself. He's not proven. Anybody who's looking at him as a proven made man, you're nuts. You're nuts. You're nuts, and you're a ball washer. That's all I have to say about that. To be honest, you're the most rational sports critic I watch from the Chargers YouTube. This stuff is just entertainment. But you keep it real, and I keep the same. And that's what I do. If somebody is playing well, I have no problem giving people credit. If the coach if it's a good game plan, I have no problem with that either. But I'm looking at things objectively. And I take my glasses off and I take my fan hat off and I can look at things objectively. This is how I am about all of my sports teams. I can say it and I don't feel like, I'm just being negative or whatever. This is real life. I don't know what people want. Do you want people to lie to you? Even when things are not going well, do you want people to lie to you? Is that what most people want? I don't know. I have no idea. That's just not how I am. That's not how I grew up. Like, it's just real life. This is what's going on. And this is the reality here. And this is what everybody is seeing. The Chargers are not a good team right now. They are just not a good team. Are they a talented team? Hell yeah. You bet your ass they're a talented team. Do they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league? Hell yeah, they do. But what you're seeing is the Chargers are not a good team. And everything based off of Herbert's heroics. When Herbert is not in the heroic, when he can't have the heroics, the Chargers are just not a good team. We've seen what happened yesterday. Yesterday was the absolute perfect example. Justin Herbert, right? He's a warrior, right? He thugged it out. He tried to play as best as he could. He had his rib thing, and I guess he didn't take the shot out. I heard he didn't take the shot. But he thugged it out as much as he could. But he wasn't 100% Herbert. He wasn't Herbert that was running around making plays. He wasn't the Herbert that I seen in person last year at the Browns game. He wasn't that Justin Herbert. So without that Justin Herbert, the Chargers ain't shit. And this is what we can see. And everything that Brandon Staley has done in this league is based off of Justin Herbert's heroics. He hasn't done nothing else. He hasn't done nothing else. That's why I said if Chase Daniel plays, this is going to get ugly. And it would have got ugly if Chase Daniel played yesterday. The score would have been fucking 42-0. You bet your ass it would have been. Because Justin Herbert scored 10 points just off of nothing. And Chase Daniel could not do what Justin Herbert did. And with the Jacksonville defense playing as well as it was, especially up front, the Chargers would have got smoked. They probably would not have scored. They wouldn't have scored. And especially with no run game, with 26 rushing yards all game long. What? You want to sit here, you Herbert fanboys want to sit here and tell me that this guy knows what he's doing. Get the fuck out of here. And no, you're not going to sit here and tell me that. You're not going to. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and listen to that. I'm smarter than that. I know football better than that. You're not going to sit here and you're not going to convince me of that. I don't care that you like his motivational speeches. I don't care. He doesn't know what he's doing on the field. He's 10-10 with a loaded roster. You look at any other good coach in the league. If you want to bring good coaches into it, what good coach would go 10-10 with this roster? Would Andy Reid go 10-10 with this roster? No. Would Mike Tomlin go 10-10 with this roster? No. Would Bill Belichick go 10-10 with this roster? No. Throw any other good coach you want to in there. Would Sean McVay go 10-10 with this roster? No. None of the good coaches are going 10-10. They're not going to be average with an above average roster. It's just not going to happen. Mike Tomlin does this with backup quarterbacks. Mike Tomlin was 8-8 with backup quarterbacks with Duck Hodges. Remember that guy, the Duck Hunter or whatever he was? Mike Tomlin went 8-8 with a backup quarterback in the NFL. Brandon Staley is 10-10 with Justin Herbert, future Hall of Famer, right? Come on. You're lying to yourself. And you get online and you think you're going to convince other people. You're not going to tell me what I seen. I seen a poorly coached team by a coach that's in over his head. You're not going to tell me that I seen anything else because it's bullshit. And I'll argue with you all goddamn day long about it. That you're just not going to convince me about it. You're not going to. You're not going to. The fanboy BS is made up in your head. No one is. You seem like you let your dislike towards him override everything. No, I didn't. No, I don't. I was good for Staley last year. I liked him going for it. He just doesn't know what he's doing. Tell me what he's doing. Jaffa, tell me. Give me an accomplishment that Brandon Staley has had that is away from Justin Herbert's heroics. Tell me. I'm asking you to give me facts. I don't dislike the guy. I like him. I think he's a likable dude. I like his story. I know his mom passed away and all of that stuff. He dealt with the cancer. I like Brandon Staley personally, but this ain't got nothing to do with me liking him. This has everything to do with what is he doing on the field. He's 10-10 with a future Hall of Fame quarterback. You give me his accomplishments that have nothing to do with Herbert's heroics. Please, I'm asking you for facts. You want to come on here and you want to give me facts. Give me facts. This is what I'm talking about. I don't give a shit about all this other stuff. I'm on here for facts. For facts. Same thing that I did with Joe Lombardi. I called him out 4 months ago. The video is blowing up again now. I woke up with a bunch of comments on it. Hey, man, you was right about this. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Give me his accomplishments away from Justin Herbert. Ain't none. There is none. You like Brandon Staley. It's okay. You're a fanboy. It's fine. You're a fanboy. Some people got, I was a Kobe fanboy. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. There's just nothing to show for it. There's nothing to show for all your irrational liking of Brandon Staley. There's just nothing to show for it. I'm sorry. There's nothing to show for it. I'm sorry. You didn't like the hire, but doing it in week 3, man, the defense shows up first 2 weeks against better offenses. Bro, I've told you, the defense shows up because there's better players on defense. You're going to have obviously a huge improvement. There's better players on defense. Who was playing the position that Khalil Mack played last year, right? The Kyler Fackrell, right? I don't even think he's in the league anymore. Or if he is, he's a special teams guy. That's who was playing the position. Who was playing the position that Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson was playing, right? It's what's the older guy, Linval Joseph. He's not in the league anymore. He retired. Obviously, you have upgrades at certain positions. Obviously, you have upgrades. So the defense is going to look better. It ain't because of Brandon Staley. You have good players in there. If you put a bunch of good players in the game to play, they're going to make plays. It's not because of Brandon Staley. This is not a Brandon Staley thing. This is not because of his coaching. These guys came in, made men. Sebastian Joseph Day was a huge part of what the Rams did on defense last year. That you're telling me Brandon Staley has something to do with that? Austin Johnson was one of the best run stoppers. He's been one of the best run stoppers in the league for the past 2 years. What the hell does Brandon Staley have to do with that? I don't understand. Bryce Callahan, one of the best slot guys in the league, right? He obviously balled out in Denver. We know that. The Chargers played Denver all the time. Bryce Callahan was always balling out. He comes over. What does Brandon Staley have to do with that? These guys are good players. Brandon Staley has nothing to do with that. They're good players who are playing in this defense right now. So they are, of course, they're making plays. They're making stops. There's good players on this defense. Has nothing to do with coaching. Has nothing to do with coaching. Because if Brandon Staley was a coach, this defense would be looking reminiscent to some of those old Raven defenses. That's what this defense would be looking like. It would be scary. It would be a scary defense. This defense is not scary. It's good, but it's not scary. It ain't scary. It would be looking like those old Raven defenses, like those old Steelers defenses. That's what one of these, if Brandon Staley was the coach we thought he was. But he's not. This defense is just good. It's just good. And yes, they showed up the first 2 weeks, but what do you make of yesterday? What do you make of yesterday? That just you just nothing at all. No adjustments either. Because yes, you can come out and you can make plays. You can have good players making plays. But when you have a coach who won a Super Bowl, who is experienced, like Doug Peterson, right? When you have a coach like that who is playing chess with you, where was Staley's adjustments? And I don't want to hear shit about injuries. Please tell me, where were the adjustments at? I want to know. I would like to know. I would like to know. Last year we had far worse talent. What are you talking about? I just said that. We have better players now, so the defense looks better. I just said that. This is not last year. You're talking about one game this year. Now all of a sudden Staley has nothing to do with how the defense looks. No, they're good players. They are good players. They're good players. What do you mean? What are you talking about? So, okay, you're one of these guys who thinks that Staley takes credit for the Rams defense, right? Is that what you think? Do you think Staley takes credit for the Rams defense? Because even if you do think that, why did the Rams defense get better when Staley left and became the Chargers head coach? They were able to win a Super Bowl. If Staley is so great, why did they get better when he left? Please tell me why. I would like to know that. I would like to know, because it's clear you're a Staley fanboy. You are a Staley fanboy. The Rams defense got better when Staley left. When you have a great defensive coordinator that leaves, normally you're not as good. Normally you're not as good. And very rarely are you better when you have a great defensive coordinator that leaves. So tell me why the Rams defense got better last year when Staley left. I would like to know this. Please, I would like to know this. Staley had nothing to do with the first 2 games. Bro, you're doing too much. I'm not saying, but the defense is better. He's obviously calling the defense. He's obviously the coach. But as far as the plays being made, no, Staley had nothing to do with that. Bro, what did Staley have to do? Okay, what did Staley have to do with Khalil Mack running over Jermaine Illuminor time and time again with the Raiders? What did Staley have to do with that? You don't think Khalil Mack has done that for every defensive coordinator that he's played for? Well, I don't get it. I don't understand what you're talking about. I really don't. You don't think Derwin James balled out for Gus Bradley? Like, what are you talking about? I just don't understand. I really don't. Yes, he's trolling, but he's trying to He's trying to bring up all of this stuff because he's a Staley fanboy. He loves Brandon Staley. He loves Brandon Staley. It's clear that he loves Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley isn't shit. He's a sorry coach. They're 10-10, and that's just what it is. And he can't accept facts. Brandon Staley is not the coach that he thinks he is. Is it? Maybe you like his motivational speeches. Maybe you like all of that stuff, but he's just not the coach you think he is. They're ill prepared. Very ill prepared. Seriously. Why play Herbert if you aren't going to play him as Herbert? I mean, right. That was one of those things that I think the Chargers probably should have protected him from himself. They should have protected him from himself, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And then to leave him in the game as long as they did without taking him out, especially in the fourth quarter, that was crazy, man. That was crazy. Bro, I'm not making anything up on my head. You're trying to defend Staley here, and there's no defense. There's just no defense for him. The jig is up. He's a good talker, but like I said, everything is all about Justin Herbert. If Justin Herbert does not have heroics, Brandon Staley doesn't win. That's just what it is. It is what it is. That's all it is, and that's what it came down to last year. You look at the Week 18 game, the Raiders, that sorry ass offense put up 35 points on the Chargers. The Chargers are not they get blown out without Justin Herbert and his heroics to even get the game into overtime. You look at that last year, right? You get out coached by a special teams coach, by Rich Bisaccia. That's what happened last year. The same thing happened yesterday. Justin Herbert the only difference was Justin Herbert wasn't able to do the heroic stuff because of his rig. That's all it was. That's literally all it was. If Justin Herbert was able to do all of the normal things that he does, all the normal throws, all that spectacular shit, the game would have been a lot closer yesterday. And yeah, we probably wouldn't be talking about Staley like this right now. But this shit is getting exposed, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's no amount of arguments or straw man arguments that you can bring up that is going to make Brandon Staley a better coach. You can defend him all you want. It doesn't make Brandon Staley a better coach. It just doesn't. And it's facts. I'm sorry that you like him so much, but it's facts. It's facts. He's just not a great coach. He's not a great coach. Like I said, he only has 6 years of NFL experience. 6 years of NFL experience. Second year as a head coach. That's it. That is it. That's all he has. He don't have nothing else. So, this is going like how a 6-year coach, a 6-year in total time coach would go. This is how things are going. It's mismanagement. It's mismanagement. It's coaching mismanagement. That's all that's going on. And I don't know how anybody can argue anything else. That's what's going on. And people, if you don't want to admit it, it's fine, but this is what's going on. Brandon Staley is not the coach you think he is. He's not. I'm sorry. He's just not. Like it is what it is. It is what it is. And these are facts. These are facts. Brandon Staley is 10-10. That is 500. 500 is average, meaning mediocre. Through 20 games, Brandon Staley is a mediocre coach. And here's the other thing about this too. What's your name? Jaffa. Here's the other thing about this too. Brandon Staley is mediocre in this position that he's in right now. Justin Herbert is on his rookie contract. He's making $6 million this year. $6 million. And this is hard for Brandon Staley now. This is average. Think about how much harder it's going to get when Justin Herbert signs that huge mega contract. Because guess what? His cap number is not going to triple. It's not going to quadruple. It's going to go up by 7 times, at least 7 times. That $6 million this year is going to go up to 42, 45 million next year. So guess what? The Chargers are not going to be able to re-sign guys. There's going to be less talent on this roster. Less talent on the roster. So what does that mean? That means your coaching has to be up here. Your coaching has to level up. That's what has to happen. If you can't do it now, if you can't swing it with the guy on a rookie contract, ain't no way in hell you're going to be able to swing it with the guy on an elevated contract. Because ain't going to be no cap space. Ain't going to be no cap space. Tom Telesco is going to have to hit everything in the draft. He's going to have to hit everything. There can't be any Jerry Tillery's in the draft. There can't be no 3rd and 4th round picks like there were this year. You're going to have to hit everything because you're going to need every little piece, every single little piece to succeed. That's what you're going to need. And we can go, if you think that Brandon Staley is a good head coach and you think all of that stuff, let's go in our own division. Let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Let's look at the Chiefs. Mahomes, they won a Super Bowl on his rookie contract, right? They were able to go out. They had defensive issues. They were able to go out and get Tyrann Mathieu. They got Tyrann Mathieu, trade for Frank Clark. They were able to do all that stuff, shore up their things. They got a new defensive coordinator. They were able to shore their whole entire team up, right? Look at 2 years ago. Look at the AFC divisional game against the Browns 2 years ago, right? What happens? Mahomes gets concussed, right? He's out of the game. A lot of people think the Chiefs were going to lose, me included. I thought the Chiefs were going to lose. Did they lose that game? No. They won that game with Chad Henne coming in the quarterback. Do you know why they won that game with Chad Henne coming in the quarterback? Because every other aspect of their team was solid, and they had a head coach who knew what he was doing. So everybody else came out and leveled up. Andy Reid's coaching leveled up. The play of the other players leveled up. The defense came in, did what they were supposed to do. They leveled up. They did that all without Mahomes, because everybody thinks that they're very Mahomes-centric, and they are to some degree. But they can win games without Mahomes, because Andy Reid is a hell of a head coach. He understands what he's doing. He understands what he needs to expect from every player he has out there. And he can squeeze juice out of guys that other guys can't get juice from. He can take a 7th-round draft pick and he can squeeze all the juice from him. You look at the receiver, Demarcus Robinson, right? He got let go by the Raiders. He got signed by the Raiders. They let him go, right? They didn't think he had anything left, right? And it doesn't seem like they're missing him either. The Raiders got a pretty good receiving core. Andy Reid squeezed all the juice out of that guy that he could, because that's what he does. He is a good head coach. You tell me who Brandon Staley is squeezing the juice out of. Please. He's not squeezing the juice out of anybody. Who is Brandon Staley getting anything out of that is not a star? Don't tell me Derwin James, because Derwin James can go on any of the other 31 teams and ball just the same way he's doing now. Doesn't matter who's his coach, quarterback, whatever. Who is Brandon Staley squeezing juice out of? Nobody. He ain't squeezing juice out of nobody, because he's not that kind of coach. He's a motivational type of coach. He's a motivational, get you going, all that type of stuff. And that works with young players. But when you have a lot of veterans on the squad like the Chargers do now, it doesn't work. They're not going for that. They don't want to hear it. They want a coach who is going to be detail-oriented, have the X's and O's in place, and put them in a position to succeed. They don't want to hear any of the talk. Just like Andy Reid does. Andy Reid does not give motivational speeches. Do you think Andy Reid gives motivational speeches and does all of this shit? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. They just go to practice, do what they need to do, show up on Sunday, and take care of business. That's it. That's all they do. That's all they do. He's not a motivational guy. They go out and they take care of business. You look at any other great coaches too. They're not great communicators, whatever. They go out, they take care of business. They put players in positions to succeed. They have expectations of these players. And they are fair in all their assessments and all of that stuff. People might not like it. They might not like how, Belichick lets go guys and all of this stuff, whatever. But has he ever let go of a guy that they need now? I don't think so. I don't think so. Everybody was like, he let Cam Newton go. Mac Jones is better than Cam Newton. So what? Who cares? That's what he does. That's what he does. And that's what great coaches do. They're able to make these decisions. Great coaches don't say, hey, Justin Herbert, okay, we're down 28. You have a painful rib injury. Okay, yeah, you can just go out there and play with your teammates. That's not what good coaches do. That's what friends do. That's what guys who don't get respect in locker rooms do. That's what they do. That's what Brandon Staley does. You think Belichick is going to go out there and let his quarterback with a rib injury go out and play? No, he would tell Tom Brady to sit the fuck down right away. Right away. Even with all of Tom Brady's stature, he would tell Tom Brady to sit down. I'm not your friend. I'm your coach. And I have an obligation to this team. I have an obligation to this franchise to do what's best. I don't have to come out here and be friendly with you. They don't. And that's what they played together for 20 years. Never even had dinner. They never had dinner. Tom Brady never had dinner with Bill Belichick. Ever. And they won 6 Super Bowls. You don't have to be friendly with your players. You don't. You don't have to be friendly with your players. Good coaches get their shit done, and their teams are coached up. It's not just about your side of the ball. If you need to make an adjustment, you go out there and make an adjustment. The Chiefs got close to getting to the Super Bowl with Mahomes. Remember that? And they had that old man as a defensive coordinator. I think his name was Don Sutton, and his time was over. What did Andy Reid do? Went out and got Spagnuolo, right? They went out and got a guy who they can win with, and the next year they won the Super Bowl. He did what he had to do, and I'm sure he knew Sutton. I'm sure he was probably friends with him. right? But who cares? He did what he had to do to win the Super Bowl, and that's what he did. And he has coaches there who are going to coach the team up. So that way, if Mahomes does go down, everybody else is elevated. It's not time to panic. It's not time to panic. Yes, we're not going to be as good with Mahomes, but we can still win because we can still run the ball. We can still stop the run. We still got guys that are going to make plays. Our special teams are good. We still have a whole entire team that is going to elevate themselves. That's not what the Chargers do. If you think that's what the Chargers do, you're crazy and you're tripping. And that's not the coach that Brandon Staley is. And I'm not saying that he can't get there. He's still a young coach, but he's not there now. He's not there now, and he is in over his head, especially for a team this talented. You still have not given me any accomplishments that Brandon Staley has had away from Justin Herbert. You haven't. You can't give me any accomplishments. I just gave you one of Andy Reid's. He won a playoff game without Patrick Mahomes in a very close game too. He won a playoff game without him, who many people think is the best quarterback in the league. That's what Andy Reid did. So you give me an accomplishment that Brandon Staley has done away from Justin Herbert. There is none. There is none. And there's not going to be none either. He is just not the guy. And it's okay. It's fine. He's a young coach. Maybe he'll be a retread and go somewhere else if this doesn't go right. But it's fine to say that this guy really doesn't know what's going on. And he just doesn't. He doesn't. You can see the product on the field. He does not know what's going on. He doesn't. To let your quarterback stay in and get hit down 28 points is stupid. Good coaches don't do that. That is not a apples to oranges thing. Good coaches never do that. Never. They never do that. Never. So you can take yourself out of just being a good coach by doing something as stupid as that. And again, just like I said when I started this, if Storm Norton goes out on this field against Houston on Sunday, if he is playing any tackle position, again, if you think Brandon Staley is a good coach, you tell me what good coach would have Storm Norton out there playing tackle against any team. You tell me. Brandon Staley is not a good coach. These are straight up facts that I'm bringing up. Opinions don't matter right now. These are facts. Good coaches don't make the decisions that Brandon Staley makes. It just doesn't happen. You can like him all you want to. It just doesn't happen. It does not happen. And yes, you can criticize me and all of this stuff, whatever. But when you lose the locker room, yes, the sky is falling in the organization. When you lose the locker room, it's not just about losing games. If you lose the locker room, if players are side-eyeing you and rolling your eyes whenever you walk in or whenever you talk, that's the equivalent to the sky falling down in organizations. Shit doesn't end well. How many times have we seen this? If you're a fan of the NFL, you've always heard anytime you lose the locker room, it's over. Over. Doesn't matter who you have on the team. If you lose the locker room, it is over. And if Brandon Staley if he's completely lost the locker room, this shit is over. It's over. I don't know that yet. I don't know if he's completely lost the locker room. I have no idea. We'll see how the guys respond in Houston on Sunday. But if he has lost most of the locker room, it's over. It's over. It is over. It's absolutely 100% over. That's all it is. It's over. If he lost the locker room, that is it. That is it. He lost the locker room. It's over. Guys don't respect him. Veterans on the team don't respect him. It's over. There's nothing you can do about that. There is nothing you can do about that at all. It's just what it is. This is what happens. It's what happens in the NFL. This guy is not the coach that you think he is. He's not. He is not. Who said the locker room is gone? Players need to hold themselves accountable as well. I'm not saying the locker room is gone. I'm saying that he's being side-eyed in the locker room, though. He is giving his motivational speeches, and he's not preparing this team. And they don't like that. They do not like it. They don't like it. They're not into it. They want to go out and win. They're not into the talk. They're not into any of that stuff. They want to prepare to win. And Brandon Staley has not been doing that. He has not been doing that. He has not been preparing this team to win. And when you make a decision like you did yesterday by leaving Justin Herbert in, that also loses guys in the locker room as well, too. Because you know that everything, all the success that you want to have is on the shoulders of number 10. If number 10 gets hurt or if he's out for any stretch of time, whatever, it's done. Your season might as well be done. You have no backups. You're going to lose games by a lot, and you're not even going to be competitive. And then guys are really, really, really going to quit. If you have Chase Daniel in there playing quarterback, especially in divisional games, you want that will lose the locker room. That will 100% for sure lose the locker room. But there are things going on in the locker room that guys don't like. And that's what I alluded to. Guys did not like Sony Michel coming in 3 days before the Raider game and taking all of Josh Kelly's snaps, even though Josh Kelly was awarded the number 2 running back position. Guys don't like that. They don't like that. NFL players don't like that. They don't like to feel like they're working their ass off for something that they have achieved, and then all of a sudden you have some outside guy come in and take everything that you work for. Guys don't like that. They don't like that. They don't respect it. So you're going to have issues in the locker room at that point. You're going to have issues when stuff like that happens. You can't have Sony Michel come in and take all of Josh Kelly's work. You just can't do that. You can't do it. Now, notice some preseason poor preparation, letting players come into minicamp out of shape. Who's out of shape? Well, I know the Chiefs said that they were in better shape than the Chargers. They said they were in better condition, and that helped them on Thursday night. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe they're alluding to the Gerald Palmer thing, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they're out of shape. I just think that they are not motivated. That's what it looked like, especially towards the end too. So, man, let's see. I'm just saying, man. Tom Telesco has a hand in this. He definitely has a hand in this. He's picking the coaches, and he obviously, him and Brandon Staley I think they played football at the same place, so they have a connection there. So this is nepotism going all around. The Joe Lombardi hire, obviously nepotism. I talked about it with Ronaldo Hill. I don't know how much power he has as a defensive coordinator, but he's still a nepotism hire as well too. None of these guys really know what they're doing, and you've seen it on the field. You cannot argue with what you have seen on the field. You just can't. You cannot argue with what you've seen on the field. It doesn't it is what it is. When you have blowout losses in week 3 with a team with Super Bowl aspirations, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. And I'm not saying that the Chargers can't turn the season around, and I'm not saying that there still isn't time to right the ship. I'm not saying that. What I'm alluding to is that you cannot get past locker room issues, especially when players don't respect coaches. It just doesn't happen. The Chargers can have a pretty good season, but at some point it's going to come down to your players trusting your coach. Do you trust your coach? Do you trust this call that he's making right now in the fourth quarter, right? Game on the line. Do you trust the call that he's making? It is. This is the type of stuff that happens. It's not just about what goes on the field and all that stuff. Relationships, locker room, guys being rubbed the wrong way, guys feeling like they're disrespected and all that stuff. All that shit affects football. All of it. All of it affects football. I don't know if you guys understand that or not, but all of it affects football, especially when you have a veteran locker room, when you have guys in the locker room who got multiple rings. All of it affects the game. All of it. And Brandon Staley has really not taken advantage of this opportunity that he's had. Again, this is going to, the degree of difficulty this year, it gets ratcheted up twice as much next year with Justin Herbert on the big rookie contract. No more space after that. No more cap space after that. None. There ain't going to be no cap space after that. So now what you're going to have to try to do, you're going to have to try to convince veterans who still got something in the tank to come to LA and play for less money. And the taxes here are higher. Y'all know, if you live in California, the taxes here are hella higher than anywhere else you're going to go play. So you have to convince veterans of that. That's going to be hard within itself. Tom Telesco, you can't have no bad drafts. No bad drafts. If you don't get at least 3 guys that are starters in every single draft, it's going to be a failure. It's going to be a failure. Just straight up. It's going to be a failure. Then you look at the cap going forward. Who do the Chargers lose? They're going to lose a good player. Is it going to be Keenan Allen? Who is it? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Joey Bosa? The room ain't going to be there. Somebody's going to have to take a pay cut or get cut. It's going to be much, much, much harder next season. So if you can't pull this together, ain't no way you're going to succeed next year. I know a lot of people are like, oh, man, let's just wait till next year. Shit, it's going to be a lot harder next year. A lot harder. There's cap constraints. Cap constraints. You see what happened with Kansas City. They had to let Tyreek Hill go. Tyreek Hill, the most explosive man to probably ever play the game. They had to let him go. So if you think the Chargers not going to have to give anybody up, you're crazy. It's going to get harder next year. Imagine all this without Keenan Allen next year. It's going to get harder. And everybody's talking about, oh, we don't have Keenan Allen now, and we don't have Keenan Allen. We don't have Keenan Allen. Guess what? We probably not going to have Keenan Allen all of next year because I don't think that brother's taking a pay cut. So this is going to be the reality going forward. This ain't just the right now. This is the reality going forward. Ain't going to be no Keenan Allen next year. Y'all can't say that. Well, we didn't have Keenan Allen or Joey Bosa or whatever. We didn't have Joey Bosa or whatever. That's going to be the reality going forward. This is why you need to have your franchise infrastructure. It has to be all together. Your GM, your head coach, they have to be on the same page. Your head coach has to hire people that can get the job done, not his friends. Everything has to work together. Everything has to work together. That is how you have success. You have to have a GM who is bright and is smart and that can finagle the salary cap, right? Like Les Snead does with the Rams. Tom Telesco don't do that. Tom Telesco don't do that at all. Tom Telesco holds on to his draft picks. He holds on to his draft picks too long. That's what Tom Telesco does. He's not finagling the cap. And like I said, you're going to have to convince guys to go to come to LA. Come to LA, come play for less money. We're going to tax the shit out of you out of here. We're going to take half your money, no matter how much the contract is. And, hopefully everything goes right versus them going to Texas or something like that, where they're going to have more money in their pockets. That's hard. That's going to be hard. That is going to be hard. It's going to be hard as shit next year. It's going to be hard as shit. Trust me. It's going to be hard. Y'all think this is hard now? It ain't. It's not. Teams do this shit all the time. Russell Wilson, Seahawks, they won a Super Bowl on his rookie contract. Mahomes, they won a Super Bowl on his rookie contract. All of these teams are trying to maximize their rookie contracts, their players' rookie contracts. They're all trying to do it. And this is the last year. Herbert's going to be paid next year. He's going to be paid. He's going to have as much money as a bank guy. That's how much money he's going to make next year. It's not going to be easy. So if your coach can't get you through this, if you don't have a coach that can get you through this on the rookie contract, it's going to be much, much harder. There's going to be much less talent on the roster next year. And you tell me, are you okay with Brandon Staley doing that with less talent on the roster? Because we seen what happened last year when there was less talent on the roster. There was still a talented roster, but still didn't have as much talent. Didn't even make the playoffs. We won 9 games off the strength of Herbert and his heroics. It's not going to be that way going forward. It's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. It's not. It is not. What did it say? Tom Telesco had us 32nd in dead money. He's good about that, and owners like that. Yes, but he's not finagling the salary cap, though. He's not getting talent. He's not getting talent for the cheap like the Rams are doing. He's not pushing money forward and pushing money back and all of that stuff. The dead cap is okay, but at the end of the day, do you have talent on your roster? Is he going to be able to get talent on the roster with Justin Herbert making $45 million? I don't know. I question that. I really, really question that. That's what I've been saying. Palmer is supposed to replace Keenan Allen. He is going to replace Keenan Allen. Palmer's making like $800,000 a year. Keenan Allen's making $20 million a year. And Keenan Allen has been injured, right? And they're going to use that against him, and they're going to want him to take a pay cut, and he's probably going to go somewhere else. And hopefully he does, so he can win a Super Bowl, because he probably won't do it here in LA. But these are facts here. And this is just what's going to happen. And things are going to get harder. And if you don't have the infrastructure in place, shit is going to get really hard. Really, really hard. You can ask a lot of teams that. Things are going to get hard. They're going to get harder. Allen's going to need to be phased out sooner than later. Exactly. They're going to have to. Where are they going to find money right now to pay Justin Herbert? Where are they going to find money to pay him $45 million next year? And the 5 following years after that, where are they going to find money? The Chargers only got like $12 million in cap space now. So even with that, they're still going to, even with guys' contracts expiring, they're still going to have to cut somebody to pay him. And that's even right now. Like, they're still going to have to find that money somewhere. It just doesn't, it's not the way that, everybody thinks it is. It's not easy. It's not easy. You can ask Patrick Mahomes that too. He don't have as much talent there as he did. The Chiefs are better at drafting than the Chargers are. They found starters on the offensive line in the 6th round, in the 4th round, or second, 3rd round, whatever. They found starters on the offensive line deep in the draft. So ask them how hard it is. It's very hard. It's extremely hard. And they still have Travis Kelce too. And, they still got some talent and stuff around there. But as Mahomes, as his salary goes up every year, they're going to have to say bye-bye to somebody pretty much every single season. So that means everybody else has to elevate. Coaching has to be on point. Quarterback has to be on point. Everything else around him has to be on point. The drafting has to be on point. All of it counts. All of it matters. All of it matters. See, I'm out. This chat needs control over trolls like this one. Yeah. I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and throw him in. Throw him out there. Yeah, because he's just talking crazy. He's a Staley fanboy. He's a Staley ball washer, a fillator, a masturbator of Brandon Staley, and he just keeps coming in here talking all this dumb shit. Even though the Chargers got their ass whooped yesterday, he's doing overtime. And I told y'all the Brandon Staley trolls are going to work overtime. So yeah, I got him up out of there. You see, I said I'll start to panic around our bye week, but after yesterday, my red flags were raised, especially seeing lesser teams being successful so far. Upside down world, yeah, because you have coaches getting the most out of them, and if you make the right hires as a coach, you can have success. The Lions are pretty good, and Dan Campbell he's a crazy dude, but he made the right hire at offensive coordinator. Their defense seems to be playing better as well too, and they don't even have that much talent. But they are making strides. They're going in the right direction. The Chargers have regressed since last year, and that should tell you something. Good teams normally don't regress, and that's one of those things that happens. So yeah, keep arguing with this. Let other people get a word. It's lonely in his mom's basement right now. I don't know. I mean, this guy just came out of nowhere, and I seen his comment on one of my posts earlier, and I was like, what are you talking about? Yes, the sky is falling. If all of this shit is true, and the locker room is not into what Brandon Staley's saying, nobody can have any success. They're not going to have any success. Nobody can have success when your team doesn't buy into your coach. And I don't know why this guy doesn't understand that. He just really doesn't understand it. I don't know why. He should understand this. If you're a football fan, you should understand this. You need coaching. It's not basketball. You can't just go out there and do whatever you want. You need solid coaching to win. And it's clear that the Chargers don't have that. It's clear. It's obviously clear. It's extremely clear the Chargers don't have that. So I don't know. I don't know what this guy. I really don't know what his problem is. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe if he's commenting on stuff in my any of my other posts and all that stuff. But yeah, man, it is what it is. This is where the Chargers are at right now, and it sucks that it's reality, but it's reality. If you want to, like I said, sunshine and rainbows and lollipops and all that stuff, that ain't gonna help the Chargers. It ain't gonna help them win. It's not going to. You can think all the positive thoughts you want to. It's just reality. You have to deal with it. Let's see. Our office was supposed to be on another level year two. Been atrocious. How much time does the front office give Lombardi? I don't know, man. I think if the Chargers lose next week, if they lose and if the offense looks putrid, I think Lombardi could be gone by next week, honestly, because this is becoming a national story, and I've noticed the views and stuff on the videos that I've done, like they're all going up, and people are really even like not even Charger fans, like this has become a national thing, like this is a national story. Brandon Staley this is embarrassing, but it is a national story. So I think you can only take so much national embarrassment for so long if you're ownership. Right, because after a while, it's going to start to affect the bottom line. And these owners are all about money. So I think a move is going to have to be made next week if the Chargers lose and they go to 1-3 and they just lost to two teams who didn't make the playoffs last year. It would be ugly. It would be very, very ugly. So we'll see what happens. I've been a Chargers fan since 1978. I know when the sky is falling. Right. And I didn't even say that the sky was falling, but I said that most of the time when you see like teams who are beefing, you have a beef in the locker room, whether it's between players, coaches, GM, whatever, those teams usually aren't successful. And that's normally when the sky is falling for a franchise, because it doesn't matter how talented they are. If they're not able to work through their issues and get on the same page, it's going to result in failure. And that's what it does most of the time. So, it is what it is. A lot of people don't want to admit that, but it is a thing. And, you have to admit that if your team is not on the same page, it doesn't matter who you have at quarterback, doesn't matter who you have at wide receiver, doesn't matter who you have at head coach. It's just not going to turn out the way you want to. So, I don't, like I said, I don't know if the sky really is falling or not, but it is cause for concern, and red flags should be raised that the Chargers are not on the same page in the locker room. Guys are pissed off, and that should be something that should be acknowledged, I think. Right, let me get into my other one. Let's see. What do you think? Who do you think will be able to coach the Chargers that will have a good impact? Somebody with experience, somebody who knows how to deal with um, stars on a team, somebody who is detail oriented and results oriented, and not into the nature of just talking and making yourself sound good, or just putting things out just to put things out. You have to have an experienced coach. I think this is a job for an experienced coach. I don't think you can have a guy who is just trying to cut his teeth, because if you're learning to be a head coach with a team that's talented, it's just not going to work out. It's just not going to work out. And that's what's going on right now with Brandon Staley. He's still learning on the job, and it's affecting the way that this team can perform. So they should, I don't know, man. They should go in the direction of an experienced head coach. I thought they would last time, but didn't turn out that way. Lombardi should be gone this week. He should be gone this week. I agree. But I think it's going to take one more national embarrassment for this to happen. The Chargers are not known for firing coaches, even assistant coaches, early. So more of this, more national embarrassment, and I think you'll see a move being made. But it just depends. It depends on where the organization wants to go. It depends on what ownership says as well too. So, in my opinion, at least you have a superstar quarterback and a good head coach with a few Pro Bowl or solid pieces. You can at least go to a Super Bowl, right? You can with a good head coach. Yeah, you can. Andy Reid showed us that. You don't have to. You don't have to have a completely loaded team. You don't have to have the 07 Patriots. If you have the cornerstone positions locked away, good quarterback, left tackle, a good wide receiver, a good defensive lineman, good linebacker, whatever. If you have just cornerstone players at the position level, you can definitely win. And a head coach who can make it all go together, somebody who is experienced, somebody who knows what they're doing, who can push all the right buttons, you definitely can. 100%. 100%. Do you think Joe Lombardi is getting fired today? I hope so. If he does get fired today, I'm gonna do another live stream. I'm gonna come right back on here and do another live stream. If he does, I don't think he will though. I think if he was gonna get fired, I think he would have been fired already. What time is it? It's 12. It's gonna be 1 o'clock. I think he would have been fired already if they were going to fire him. But I don't know. We can all hope. I'm not super concerned with our defense, but one thing I was worried about was how clean Trevor was in the pocket compared to Cleveland. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of that is Doug Peterson. They were running a lot of quick stuff. Trevor Lawrence got rid of the ball too, and he's talented, man. He is. That was the thing that kind of surprised me. It was night and day last year. He kind of held onto the ball a little bit last year. He got rid of it. It was just getting it out. I think they schemed a lot of that. And if you do enough of that, the pass rushers are just gonna not quit, but they're not gonna rush with the same, intensity that they are in the first quarter. They kind of were just because it just tired them out. You go back, get rid of it, no hits. Go back, get rid of it, no hit. Go back, get rid of it, no hit. So the next series are coming out doing the same thing. They were tired. And it was a good game plan by Doug Peterson. Very good game plan. Experienced Super Bowl winning head coach. You see what they can do for you. Also, should the Chargers go after Sean Payton if they fire Staley? They should, but they're gonna have to pay him money. He's gonna want a lot of money, and that is going to be that's gonna be the only thing that's gonna keep the Chargers from hiring Brandon Staley. Really, it will is the money, because he's gonna want a lot of money. But hopefully they're willing to pay it. I think he'll be worth it. The Jets coach with a good OC would have been almost perfect. Robert Saleh, yeah. I don't know, man. I think you should just have an offensive coach. With Justin Herbert, you need an offensive coach. I think defensively, the Chargers were fine. Even when Gus Bradley was around, the Chargers were fine. They were always middle of the pack. They were never last at anything. And I think when Staley came in, they were last, almost dead last in the run game last year, right? Giving up a bunch of yards. That is going to lose you games. Gus Bradley, there wasn't one facet of defense that was going to lose the Chargers a lot of games. They were solid everywhere, pretty solid everywhere for the most part. Just average. They just weren't spectacular. But I would take that over, being last in the run game, I would definitely take that because we see that can't get you nowhere if you can't stop the run. So what are we going to do about the left tackle spot? Hopefully Eric Fisher is ready to play. Hopefully he answers his phone. I think he's probably the only guy out there right now, unless there's a trade out there. But if they want to explore that, possibly. But I don't know. It can't be Storm Norton. That's all I know. It cannot be Storm Norton. Heard to get a Peyton caliber coach, 100 million. Obviously rumors, but that's a lot for ownership. Spanos don't have deep pockets. They don't have deep pockets, and that would that would probably be a no-go from the jump. 100 million. The meeting would end there. The meeting would probably end there. I would guess. Yeah, it would take a lot. It would take a lot of money to get him. But they got the money now. They're making a lot of money in LA. So it's worth it. Like, do you want to bring championships to LA? Do you want to sell Charger Super Bowl merchandise? Like, it would be worth it to them. And they got the money now because the Chargers aren't paying any rent to play at SoFi. They pay the Rams $1 a year, just $1 single a year. So they have money. There's no overhead cost. They're building the new facility in where is it at? Damn, I can't even remember the city. Yeah, over there where Lakers play. The Lakers practice. El Segundo. They're building the new practice facility, but they got the money, and they're gonna have the money. That's a fraction of what the Chargers are gonna make this year. So they can give Sean Payton $100 million. I would. It would be worth it. Let's see if you can guess what's the Chargers' record at the end of the season if we continue this style of play. Ooh, if we continue what we're doing now, maybe we get 6 wins. Maybe we get 6 or 7 wins. You got to remember, Herbert is going to erase a lot of BS, especially once he gets 100% healthy. Herbert can erase a lot of BS. Herbert can win you a lot of games that you should have lost, and that's what he did last year. That's what he did in Week 1 against the Raiders. We should have lost that game. We didn't play well. We did not play well. He almost won us the game in Kansas City before he got injured and all that stuff. But Herbert can erase a lot, so I don't think that we would win like 3 or 4 games. I think we would be 6, 7, maybe close to 8 games, especially with Herbert, man. You never know. This guy he's special. He's different. He's definitely different. Our DBs play too far back. Yeah, yesterday they were. But like I said, Doug Peterson was scheming. He was scheming, man. He had a really good game plan. He had an exceptional game plan. Exceptional. And they were really getting yards after the catch as well, too. So that's how the scheme was solid. It was a solid scheme. So definitely shout out to them. Inglewood. Yeah, no, they're building in El Segundo, that new practice facility. Really nice, but I don't think it don't even cost $100 million itself. So only JC and Zone can really play press on our defense. Yeah, they can, but from a schematic standpoint, though, when you look at what Doug Peterson did yesterday, right? If you do have a guy who is playing press man, they are going to move this dude around. They're going to move him around. The guy who's getting pressed is probably going to be the guy in motion. Right, so they're going to play chess. It's a chess match, and that's why Staley failed. So you have Doug Peterson comes from the Andy Reid tree, so he knows what he's doing. He knows offense, and you just have to go back and forth. And I think that's where Staley lacks. He doesn't have the experience. He just doesn't have the experience to go back and forth with a Doug Peterson, with a guy who beat Belichick in the Super Bowl. He just doesn't. And they put how many points they put up on Belichick? They put up like 46 or something like that in the Super Bowl. Like that don't happen. That doesn't happen. That's a guy. Doug Peterson is a guy who knows what the hell he's doing. So, yeah, Staley was at a decided disadvantage yesterday, and it showed. It showed on the field, and it showed in the final score. That's what happened. Offensively, with Justin, what system do you think would be the best for us with our Week 1 game? What the any type of West Coast offense? That's what Pep Hamilton. Shane Steichen, that's what they had Justin Herbert in. And again, it's customizable because West Coast offense, if you guys know about it, Bill Walsh, the former Niners coach, invented it. There's levels to it, right? There's levels. You can go intermediate, you can go or short, intermediate, go long. And all of these plays, they all kind of intersect, right? You can have guys doing all 3 basically on the same play. So what you can do, you can customize to what your quarterback does. So if you got like a Jimmy G or whatever, you can just throw short, right? If you have a Justin Herbert, you can go long, you can go intermediate. it will also help the run game too, because a lot of the run games are zone running schemes, and it helps the running backs be decisive, right? So a hole will open up, the running back puts his foot in the ground, goes and hits the hole, right? There's not really too much dancing around. It's a very simplified offense, but you can customize it and you can get really exotic with it. Really, really exotic with it. That's what the Jaguars are running. They customize that to Trevor Lawrence's his strength. And his strength is really dropping back, 3-step drop, bam, getting rid of the ball. You know, he's very accurate, very accurate. He's got a strong arm. He's in the mold of Herbert. He's not as good as Herbert, but he's in the mold. So he really, he's dropping back, getting rid of the ball. He didn't even really have to do a lot of, reading the defense. They're running concepts where they're putting a linebacker in space, right? They're waiting for the linebacker to clear out. You hit the open man. He didn't really have to do that much reading of defense. That's why everything was so quick, and he just got it out yesterday, because that's what the game plan was. They put, certain positions in linebacker, the outside linebacker, corner, safety, whatever. They just put them in little actions where they have to make a decision. And as soon as they make the decision, then you hit the guy that's open, right? You hit the guy who he just left, or the area that he just vacated, then you hit the receiver in that area. Very quick and concise. Justin Herbert would, obviously his rookie year, he ran that same type of offense, but he would be freaking an MVP candidate year in and year out with that type of offense, in my opinion. That's what I think. As long as we have a better record than the, yeah, same here. Damn, man, I'm about to lose my voice. I was going off. But yeah, I don't want no Staley ball washing. None of that this week. I'm not having none of that this week. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for this live stream. I gotta go get some water. I'm losing my voice. But yeah, I'll be back with more content. I'll probably be dropping a video maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how my voice is doing, but we'll see. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.